and thanks for tuning in again. Today we're going to work on that Black & Decker buffer grinder that I got from the tool haul. So this is it. It is a Black & Decker model number 6126 type 3. I haven't tried it. The cord is shot, so that's the first thing. It's $15, so as I recall in this estate sale, it was half off plus 10% off maybe or something like that. But either way, I didn't pay more than $7.50 for it. It looks pretty rough, but honestly, I would bet this thing will fire right up as soon as I get it rewired. So, hey, that's our mission. Let's get busy. All right, looks pretty easy to take this thing apart. Although it looks like I'm gonna have to get this out of the way. Switch appears to work. This is all tied up here. Let me get a blade and cut these threads off so I can get this pad out and see how this comes off, because I have to get at these screws in here. There's 4 screws, one here, one here. And I think the way this thing looks, you can see, it just all comes apart in half. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 screws. So let me get this thing out of the way first, and I'll be right back. Okay, kind of an interesting size. This appears to be a 15/16. I've got this in a vise to try to hold it. This fits a little loose. I think I'm going the right way. I think this is the right way. Okay. All right, that should give me access to everything. All right, that's off. Let's take this handle off. This is actually an original Black & Decker handle. Got the logo on it. And let's, I'm gonna cut this cord. All right, so if you've ever wanted to see, oh, there's a flathead screw in here. Somebody's taken this apart before. If you've ever wanted to see how these things come apart or what's inside them, now's your chance. Well, there's always one that's got to stick, isn't there? this guy wants to strip on me. Well, let me get this flathead out. That guy came out real easy. I don't know why this guy's stuck, but it does not want to come out on me. Nope, it does not want to come out. All right, I'm gonna put some penetrating oil in there and I will be back. I'm gonna use this, but I have experience with it. So it's, for some reason, that can is really high pressure. So what I'm gonna do is just this and try to catch it because it's gonna shoot all over the place. All right. If I'm lucky, that screw will come out. Let me get a tray and I'll start collecting all the other screws. That screw goes down pretty far. So if that penetrating oil doesn't get all the way down in there, then I'm gonna have trouble. Oh, somebody scratched number 1 on this for some reason. But all right, I'm gonna take a break, let that penetrating oil sit in there, and I'll be back. So no luck with the penetrating oil, so I have been drilling the screw out. I just got the head of the screw off, so this thing should pop right apart, and hopefully there's enough of the screw in place for me to just grab it with maybe locking pliers. But let's look at how this thing's gonna come up, because I don't know how this all is gonna pop open. Okay, pretty straightforward. I can re-grease it. I can rewire it right from here, and here is the bolt that would not come out. So let's get some locking pliers. And let's hope that this will work. Seriously? So the threads weren't stuck. I guess what this is telling me is that the head of the bolt, dissimilar materials, I guess, and the fact that there was no washer on this bolt caused it to do that. How bad is this grease? It's bad. Okay, I am gonna scoop all this grease out into this paper towel, and then I'm gonna work on the switch. And look at this, look at that. I gotta show you a close up of this. Here's a reason why people don't like metal body tools. It's because you can get a shock through them. Well, look at that exposed hot wire, just waiting to shock someone. I wonder, I'd say that's why this got retired, but the cable's pretty worn out. But so this is not the original cable. This unit's been rewired. That is evidence of that. So is this wire nut here. But can you believe that? totally exposed wire. So I'm gonna clean the grease out, clean this motor out, inspect the brushes. Although they look okay from here, this one's worn more than that one. But anyway, let me get to cleaning this grease out so I don't get it all over myself while I'm rewiring it, and then I'll get to rewiring it. I'll have to clean the grease out of here as well. There's a lot of grease here. Okay, so I've got most of the grease out. So what I'm gonna use is I'm gonna use WD-40 dry lube, not regular WD-40, dry lube. It will clean and lubricate this motor, and for the switch, I'm gonna use this electronic cleaner to clean the contacts just in case the switch is bad. And then I will be taking it and rewiring it and then re-greasing it and then putting it back together. I got a mug on a rug over there. So I gotta be careful to make sure none of these chemicals get on him, because he has a tendency to come over here, but hopefully he'll lie down. Yep, it looks like he's gonna relax for a bit. All right, well, let's clean this thing out. Usually I don't have them all open like this. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spray contact cleaner around this switch. Let that soak in there. And next, not much in this can, so I've got a second can. I'm going to, yeah, there's actually nothing in this can. I'm going to go to a new can. And I will be using this to flush the debris out of the motor. It'll clean the coils and see this, all this dust. But it'll also clean inside, clean the brushes. And all you gotta do, well, here's a good example. If you can see the debris that's all over this will wash it out and let it run out of the unit. Okay. That brush is good. I thought that brush was worn. It's not. It's fine. Okay, so now we let this dry, which it'll take it a bit. This stuff's quite flammable, so we don't want to screw with that. Okay, let's look at the power cord. This is interesting. I got at that estate sale that I did the walkthrough video, I got some power cords that had strain release on them. And I wonder, this looks like it will work. Close. I should be able to compress that. If not, I'll take a little bit of rubber off here. But this should work. All right. So, obviously black goes on black. White goes on white. That's not even very well wrapped. And we do have a green grounding wire down in here. All right, so looks pretty easy, pretty straightforward, huh? I don't need much wire here at all. So let me get my wire tools. Okay, I think that I would rather solder these on and put shrink tubing over them than use wire nuts. So I'm going to do that. And I'm gonna pause the camera. I'm gonna get rid of all this. That one just doesn't want to strip. Not correctly, anyway. So we'll do it the old-fashioned way. All right, that guy needs a terminal ring. Make sure this will work. So what had happened was the other wire nut had fallen off because I just found it. One of the reasons why I do not like using wire nuts. Okay, looks like this is too small, and this is probably the right size. Yep. Okay. I think I should probably just put this back. Okay. Green gets the terminal ring. Okay. It's a red terminal ring, so we're going to use red on the crimpers. Test it. We're good. Okay. Let's get this switch ready to be soldered. This black wire could probably use to be restripped because a lot of the strands of wire are gone. So let's restrip it. That's why we cut them a little long on the power cord, because you never know. Okay, let's get our shrink tubing out. I'm gonna have to take my gloves off for this. It's a little tricky doing this with gloves on. I'll trim this down a bit. Is this white wire okay? Not really. Got kind of the same problem there. Okay. All right, let's take, I have to get my solder paste. Okay, take black. White. I'm bending it away from where the shrink tube is going to slide over it, because I don't have a lot of room for that. All right, I'm going to take some solder paste, put that on, and the solder paste will help the solder get absorbed right into the strands of the wires. It's better than trying to do this cold. Hope that shrink tube is big enough. Yeah, it's not. I'm gonna undo these. I'm gonna use bigger shrink tubing. These two pieces are too small. Okay, that's it for that. Give that a little bit of time to cool. Yeah, no way that smaller shrink tubing would have fit over these joints. Okay. Okay. put our round. Okay. Get our switch in place. Okay, since this all goes together as one piece, I've got to grease this now. Okay, so what I'm using is this super lube. Since this is such a big area, I'm not going to bother to use a grease gun or a tube. I'm just going to put it in there. And the same with this side. Let's put some on here. That should be more than enough. Hey everyone, just a brief interruption here. If you're enjoying this content and you'd like to support my channel, and especially if you like cats, I've written a series of chapter books for ages 8 and up, fully illustrated, called Flea Biscuit and Friends. The first book in the series is Flea Biscuit Finds a Home, followed by Flea Biscuit Summer Vacation, and finally, Flea Biscuit's Magic Christmas. They're available at all local booksellers as well as on Amazon.com. I will post a link in the video description. And hey, that's my pitch. Back to the video. Okay, what I'm going to try to do here, I'm going to put goggles on for this because I don't know how much rubber it's going to throw off. What I'm going to try to do is just use this Dremel to just shave a little rubber off each side. Hopefully this will work. I don't know. We won't go too fast because we gotta see. Oh yeah, that's working. Yeah, I think that should work out just fine. Yeah, I think we're good. All right, I gotta just clean these screws up before I put them in. So I'll be back. I'm gonna use the wire brush. I'm gonna clean up all these screws, and well, I guess since I'm painting this, it doesn't matter, but I'll clean them up anyway. Okay, I'll get the next two. This is where the flathead was, but I'm gonna reuse it. It's the right type of screw. I don't know if I'm gonna find another one of these in my bolt collection anyway. I'll be back. I'm gonna clean these up. Well, I was fortunate in this drawer of screws right here that I had something that worked. Ironically, also a flathead. So this will have 2 flathead screws in it, but that's okay. It's a little shorter, but it works. So what I'm doing is I'm snugging each screw. And then I'll tighten them. All right, so they're all snugged. Now I can tighten them. And I don't have to go too tight. Okay. This jar of screws, I don't remember where I got it, in a estate sale many, many years ago or something, but it's all like screws and fasteners that seem to just be made for this type of equipment. I've taken probably a dozen screws out in emergency situations. Okay. So I've got this plate. It's all covered in rust. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the wire brush and clean that up and clean the 2 screws that held it up, and then I'll be back and then we'll test it, because it seems like it's going to run fine. All right, I got most of the rust off of it. I'm not particularly concerned because I'll be taking this plate off and painting it black anyway, because that's the way it came. My belief is that I have given this enough time for all the chemicals to dry, because it has been about an hour and a half. So let's put some stuff away here, and then I'll be back and we'll test it. Okay, we're ready to test it. So how I test these, if you've seen my other videos, you can understand what I'm doing here, but I'm going to plug this in. I've got a circuit breaker box here. The first thing I do is I put power and I look to see if anything's wrong, because if when I compress this or something just happened, it'll short without me even touching it. All right, so boom, and we're good. So next, with one hand, I'll pull the trigger. In this case, I think all I have to do is push it down. Yeah, that's got a lot of torque to it. Wow. Let's get some grease worked in there. Well, I am no auto detailer, but to me, that seems to be spinning real fast for a buffer. For a grinder, it's great, but for a buffer, that is really fast. But anyway, okay, well, some people want to hear it run, so I'll let it run for another minute. Power's off. Okay. We are in cosmetic phase. And cosmetic phase for this, I believe, is going to be wire brushing all this paint off, masking this, this black, whatever. And once we get all the paint off, well, that screw wasn't put in right. It's coming out completely warped. But once we get all the paint wire brushed off, we will paint this. And it looks to be, wow, who put this screw in? Look at this, the way this is coming out. Good news is it is coming out, but boy, that is really screwy. No pun intended. Okay. Wow. Okay. So, yeah, we'll take this paint off, clean it up, and then we will paint it. I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mask these off because I don't want to get any paint in there. I'll be back. All right, I've got the two decals masked. I haven't masked everything else because it's not going to matter at this point. So I'm using a wire brush to kind of take all this rough paint off. The hammered finish will hide most of this, but there's some spots that are quite rough. I gotta be careful. I've got Muggsy in his bed. So I don't want to disturb him. So I'm actually going to take it outside and just wire brush it unless he'll be okay with it. I am going to wear goggles for this. You never want to be wire brushing anything with a power tool and not have goggles. And I wear gloves. Some people will say, nope, shouldn't wear gloves because it'll grab them. But I think with my hand there and the wire brush there, I shouldn't have a problem. But yeah. Maybe I'll just move over to that workbench. I don't want to disturb him. Anywhere the paint was particularly loose, it's off. And I'm just gonna go over it with acetone. And then I've got to plug all these vent holes. And then these plates, this plate here, and the plate here, I will remove them after painting. I think I'll loosen these screws now though. And then paint this black, these black, and this black. All right, so I'm gonna get masking for the rest of it and I'll be back. So I'm masked up, all the vent holes are plugged. We're gonna be using Rust-Oleum hammered silver. Now, like all Rust-Oleum hammered paint, it requires a lot of shaking. So I have done that. I really don't need this in here, but won't do any harm. Oops, I forgot that vent hole back there. Okay, I'm gonna let that sit for a minute and then I'll put a second coat on it and I'll be back. A couple coats and looks good. I'm gonna let it sit and that won't be ready for another 24 hours before I can really work with it, and 7 days before it's fully cured. So Muggsy's already got the right idea. At this point, I guess I'm gonna call it a night, close up the workshop. It's already getting late. Sun's already going down. This is a good time to take a break, have something to eat. So, hey, I'll be back in a few days when this thing's ready for me to start handling again, and we'll get it together and finish it up. I'll see you soon. It's a rainy day in here today. had Muggsy, Mr. T, and Checkers in here. Yep, there they are. They're still in here. But anyway, so it's been 2 days. The paint is pretty much dry. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna paint these black plates. I gotta remove them and then paint them. And we'll finish this thing up. I do want to give this hammered paint a full 7 days to dry before I do really much of anything with this. I did forget to paint up the little button there, but that's all right. But overall, I think the paint came out really nice. Let's see how these logos came out. These were a little tricky to mask because I couldn't really feel where the end of the label was because they were boxed in. But if there's any problems, that would be easy to touch up. What's up, Mr. T? Mr. T's crying. He's wet. They're both wet. And there's the elusive Checkers way over there. Oh, hopefully that little uptick in the tape did not mean I got paint all over my Black & Decker logo. Oh, looks good. Looks good. All right, let me take these 2 plates off and I'm just gonna paint this and this hammered black. They're all rather frisky. I don't know where Mr. T headed off to. All right, these 2 pieces are painted. Muggsy's out of the rain, having a nap. And I've got these pieces on. These 2 rubber pieces. Interesting, this one has spaces here for the vents. The decals look good. We're ready to wrap it up as soon as I get that those 2 pieces over there done. So I'll be back. Well, it's the last day. We're gonna finish this up. My black parts are dry, and I gotta say, it's an interesting day today. It is 38 degrees. That's all we got today in Florida. But I figure since everything's dry, I'd come out here anyway after work tonight and finish this thing up. All right, let's put this guy on. I guess I should have painted that. And I've got a new pad for it. Hopefully these fit. Get a base pad. Rubber pad. Now, I'm going to test it again. I'm going to let it run. I'm going to show you again. Personally, I think this thing's too fast to use on a car. I think it'll chew up car paint, but I think it'll probably be okay for polishing metals. But I do think for a car, it's a bit aggressive. Let's see. All right. Ready? That is really fast. That is really fast. Did you see the pad stretch out? But pretty cool. Let's wrap up this cord. And this guy's done. Looks great, really looks great. I'm really happy with it. Runs great. I mean, it's amazing how fast it is. This power cord that I got at the estate sale ended up working out great. This is silver Rust-Oleum hammered, not gray that I usually use. I'll actually show you a difference between silver and gray, because if you look at the caps, you can barely tell, but if you look at it side by side, clearly silver is brighter. Man, this thing's heavy too. Pretty cool. All right, so that's it. This was a great tool to work on. I had gotten this at an estate sale, and a few people had asked when I was going to get to restoring it. Well, there you go. It's now ready to go back to work, and it looks great. And, you know, I had never done one of these. This was actually quite easy to do. So, you know, I hope you enjoyed this content. And if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I've always got more coming. And as I said, this was easy. If you've got one of these and maybe the cord's shot and you want to start working on it, don't be intimidated. You can do it. It's a bunch of screws and it comes right open. Grease it, change the power cord. You're probably ready to go. All you got to do is go out, get busy. Take care.